Live and direct from the new planet Earth, where pandemics are plenty, but the girls are still pretty in fashionable dresses. You know what I'm talking about. Where ignorance is bliss, and you ain't gotta give a about no code. Tell me who unleashed our animal instinct. Why the op standing there?
What up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy TQ, and the Franchise Podcast is back. We back in the building with the best in Las Vegas sports. Today we are doing a special. We calling it the Raider Roundtable, and I got some Pirates in the building next to me.
Yeah.
Number one on the end over there, we got my man Kalani Lua.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
He handles everything combat sports for the franchise, but he also does some Raider content. He's been up in the press box a couple of times and a lifelong Raider fan. Tell him what's up, big boy.
You know, coming from the 415-510, all day, every day, I bleed silver and black. It has been a lifelong dream to cover these guys down in Las Vegas with them. Ooh, this is absolutely amazing. And for the first time in a long time, I'm excited for this new season.
Yes, indeed. Introducing the newest member to the team, Mr. Bryson Doughty, who is our Raiders beat reporter. Tell him what's up. What you got planned for the season, my boy?
What's up? It's Bryce. You know, silver and black, we're looking really good. We got Allegiant coming up. We got some big boys up front. We got some big boys on the D-line. The Raiders have hope for once, and Pete Carroll's going to bring us back to that promised land. It's looking pretty.
Yes, indeed. And now we have adding to the front of the camera, my main man who's normally behind the camera on the sidelines, Mr. Alon Sowell, Hub City himself.
What up, folks? I am here to give you my input. I've been behind the camera for a couple of years now with Franchise, and I'm going to let you know what I see, what I hear, and you might be surprised with a few things that I tell you along the way.
Yes, indeed. And we have our special guest. You know him, you love him. He's the hardest working man in Raider Nation content land. TJ, the Samoan Raider, joining the show today. What's up, brother?
Man, what's good, Oos, man? Thank you for having me a part of this, man. You know, I'm here so I don't get fined, so I'm just talking. You know, it feels good to be over here, talk some Raiders football. That's what I do for a living, man. I'm excited for the season. My hope is up high right now until the season actually starts. So, you know, I'm excited to talk some football.
Yes, sir. Let's get into it. We're talking about these Raiders, the 2025 iteration. I say the biggest change is a new regime. It's a regime that I trust. I'm a USC fan from the heart. I love Pete Carroll, and he's absolutely my favorite coach of all time, any sport. And I think we all said the same thing. We feel a little bit different this year than we have been feeling in recent years in the past. And I think stability at the top has something to do with it. What do y'all think?
I agree with you on that one. I know we kind of talked about it before. We've been going through a lot of different regimes, and for me as a optimistic Raider fan, you know, every year I always feel like we're gonna do good. Yeah. But something about this new regime, it just seems like we got somebody that actually done it before, and the main thing that he's coming over here and doing is trying to change the culture. You know, Pete Carroll, John Spytek, and even Tom Brady kind of taking over the helm. You know, it just feels a little bit different, and I'm kind of excited about it. That's the main reason why I'm excited about this change.
Yeah. What you think, Kalani?
You know, like you just said, the optimism. A lot of times you go into it and you're optimistic, but this one does feel different because it does feel like the moves that they made in the offseason, I know we'll get to it a little bit later, but it feels like they're making smart moves. Smart to start building a foundation. Sure, it may not be exactly what gets us over the top, but you got to start from the ground up. And I feel like the moves they've been making, front office, coaching staff, and player on the depth chart, they're doing it to say, hey, we're building the pillars, we're getting a solid foundation, this building's going up, get on while you can right now. So that's why I say I feel like the optimism going into it, a little bit more justifiable as opposed to, oh man, I hope this guy does this, hope this works out, I wish this happened. Now I feel like, nah, this is about to happen right here, so excited.
Yeah, one of the things Carroll said in his introductory press conference, and it was really big, was he wants people who are familiar with his system, and he wants people who are new and they can learn his system, but they got the same mentality that those other people have. You got John Spytek, who worked with Tom Brady when he was in Tampa. Tom Brady's also worked with Pete Carroll. You got both of them in there working with him now. Tom Brady, obviously, minority owner, he trusts them. They trust his processes. So you see going into it, already just from the start, Pete Carroll went in there, he got his guys in there. He got a big running back, he got a quarterback that he's familiar with. everywhere he's been able to build a program and build that success. USC, Seattle, he's coming here. It might be at a little bit of an older age that he was before, but at the same time, we're going into a situation where he finally has control, and he is working with someone where they got a partnership going, and they're making the right ideas, and they're getting the right moves going.
Alon, what do you think when it comes down to charisma? We saw him up close at home for a long time.
Man, hey, look, being an LA native, we know how Pete Carroll gets down.
Yeah.
We know what he brings. Don't be surprised if you see Will Ferrell in the Raiders locker room. I'm just gonna say that.
Yes, sir.
But we all know it all starts from the top. And I apologize to Spy Tech right now. I was not familiar with your game, but yo, he did a hell of a job with the draft.
Yeah.
A damn good job with the draft.
Yeah.
I, for one, was expecting the Raiders to do some stupid stuff and draft away or give away that sixth round, number 6 pick, and get back a kicker or a water boy or something. So the fact that we actually went and we got our guy to sit in the backfield, which Frankenstein, bro. We watched him when we cover UNLV, and he sits back there and he's and he fucking says hype and he's gone. Man,
absolutely.
hey, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, for real. We're gonna get deeper into the draft a little bit later. I think what the Raiders have been missing more than anything is just some consistency and some stability, right? And I think that, especially the fan base, I'm gonna piss a lot of people off, but whatever. Look, we had a stable quarterback for a lot of years. We weren't necessarily appreciative of it because we couldn't get over the hump. But do we see now what it's like to not have stability in the quarterback room? Right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
So now I feel like, when they made the offseason move to get Geno Smith, it wasn't going to knock our heads off naturally. But the bottom line is stability in that position. Now, you can take a good quarterback and have him changing offensive systems every year, and he becomes mediocre at best. If there's no consistency and there's no stability, you're not working for championships. That brings me to the next question. Like, what do you guys feel? I mean, naturally that, but just specifically, what has this team been missing before this regime? And I'm not just talking about Josh and that pack, or I'm talking about all the way back. Like, where do you feel like it went left? Did it go left in the front office? Did it go left with talent on the field? Did it go left with what's going on between the ears? What do y'all think?
Front office. Hands down, front office.
Really?
Yeah. The whole McDaniels debacle.
Yeah.
He messed up what we had. What
You
should
thought
have
we had
happened,
something going leading up to that?
Oh my gosh. What should have happened is that Rich Bisaccia should have been given the opportunity to take that team and run with it. Because if you look at what he dealt with during that season with the Rugs, I mean, I don't want to go into it, but
stuff.
I mean, he took that team. He allowed them to feel what they needed to feel, but he also put in them the opportunity to block out the noise and go handle business.
Yeah.
And that's what they did.
Yeah.
Whether you like the outcome of that season or not, fact of the matter is they got in there, they handled business. He should have been given the opportunity to lead that team for the next couple of years. And they screwed that up by bringing in McDaniels. And we've seen the latest stuff from Josh Jacobs where he's kind of given his feedback on what happened in that process and why he's now in Green Bay. And as you look at it, all these big names, or this talent that we had over the past seasons or so, you realize we no longer have them because of Josh.
Right.
And there's no other way to get around it. It is what it is.
Well, I mean, I can say this much. I think Trish can attest the difference in just the vibe around that place between right when Josh took over. Everything changed. Like the whole vibe of everything changed, didn't it? Everything got tight. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of a loose, happy, cool place. But we noticed that first day of I think it was OTAs or something we went and shot. And it just looked like a wrecking ball had come through there, man. It was a bunch of new faces. Naturally, that happens when there's a shift change, but just the vibe of everything was really tight. And it seemed like that happened in the locker room, too.
That's how Josh was trained. I mean, he was under Bill Belichick. Obviously, everyone knew what he did when he was a head coach before. Nothing. He never did anything good. And he was going to get signed by the Colts, and he said, no, actually, I'm okay.
Yeah.
And Bill Belichick, obviously with the Patriots, kept it tight-knit, everything was, you got to show up to the press conference, you got to talk. You're not doing anything crazy out in the press, because if not, I'm getting rid of you.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's a little different now with his girlfriend. But like, you look at Josh McDaniels coming to the Raiders. We're in Las Vegas. It's supposed to be, a good place. We're supposed to have some vibes there. He just wanted Patriot Way in the West Coast, no matter what.
Yeah.
And as soon as he left, you could see all the players wanted to be with Antonio Pierce.
Yeah.
They wanted that because that's what they had with Rich, and they lost it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll say to that point, because like I was kind of the opposite of the whole thing, like with Rich Bisaccia. Not saying that he was bad or anything, but I felt like the Raiders needed somebody. I was one of those guys that said, you know what, I don't see him as a head coach.
Okay.
But I didn't want Josh McDaniels though. Like I was like, I wanted somebody that was proven that I don't know who it would have been, but
Yeah.
I just didn't see it because I kind of felt like that was his run. I didn't think that, because he was running everything that John Gruden had at the time.
Yeah.
And the team was just going off of that and then just fighting for. But then the only thing I will give Rich is that the locker room really fought for him.
They
like
did.
at the end of that season, which we went into the playoffs, when Josh McDaniels came on, it just honestly, like it wasn't my number one choice, but I was optimistic about it and I felt like we were gonna do something. But I've talked to enough players to know that, and even Josh talked about it before, that like everything kind of changed from there. And then
Absolutely.
AP came in, and everything seemed good. And I know you kind of talked about the quarterback situation. I always mess around, but I feel like at the end of when AP took over, we could have made the playoffs if he brought back Jimmy G into the starting role. Come on, come on, man. Hey,
DJ, bro.
he would have scored more than 3 points on that Vikings game, man.
More than 3 points for the other team.
Jeez.
But hold on.
No,
Go
Jimmy
ahead.
G. The only way he excels is with a running game and a defense. The beginning of that season, our defense wasn't really good under Josh McDaniels. When AP took over, we had one of the best defenses.
Absolutely.
So I feel like Jimmy G would have been at least a better quarterback and stable for instead of AOC. But that's
Didn't he
just me,
bring
though.
Jimmy back for like 3 plays, man? Jimmy
Trash.
He
When?
was hot garbage. It was a home game, man. It was one of them
Was it?
games. Yeah, Jimmy came in the game, just went trash for
Try it. You might as well have me out there doing it. You might as well have me. But hold on.
and they
But
booed his ass off the field. You don't remember this?
yeah, he was done. But to your question, I've always felt this with the Raiders, like where things go off. When the Raiders became great back in the day because they was innovative. They were doing things that were different than everybody else. And whether it was, hey, we're going to get speed guys at our skill positions. Oh, you don't want these type of players? We'll take them. We'll have the attitude. We'll fight you out there on the field or in the parking lot. Where do you want to have it? Then the NFL started catching up. Oh, you got fast wide receivers? Everybody else started drafting fast wide receivers. Or you got fast corners? Everybody else got that. The Raiders stopped being innovative. They stopped looking forward. And one thing that frustrated me, and I would always butt heads with other Raiders fans, we kept looking too far in the past for what we did in the 70s and 80s. Oh, we need this guy. I used to say this from the draft. If anybody says that's an Al Davis player, don't draft him. Because for about 15 to 20 years, outside of a couple of guys here and there, Nnamdi Asomugha, Charles Woodson, the outliers, you were getting a lot of guys who would draft butts, but they were considered, oh, that's a Raiders player right there. That's a throw. We don't need that.
Yeah.
And back in the day, it worked.
Yeah.
But if everybody else can do what we used to do back in the day, it doesn't work anymore. I think that was the thing that really cost us. We wanted so much to hold on to our tradition, the way the silver and black was made. It's a great, but you got to be able to evolve. And you look at any dynasty, that's what they do over time. Keep up with what's going on right now. That's where we lost our footing. And like we said before, it feels like now with this new regime that has been proven to do it at other places, i.e. Seattle and USC, but also just the moves that they're making gives you the idea of, okay, it's not going to be overnight, but they're putting us on a path to finally say, hey, it looks like we have a vision. And we got the people there where we're not going to say, oh, you only get 1 year to do this. If you do bad, we got to get rid of you. No. We're going to give you the time because we've seen what you can do. So I love that we're building this in a manner, and I feel like it's going to work.
I hear what you're saying. During the time, though, you got to look at the quote-unquote Al Davis players that we passed up to get other
Thank you.
Al Davis players.
Thank you.
Like the ones that we left on the board should have been on the team.
Calvin Johnson,
Yeah.
Larry Fitzgerald,
Exactly.
Aaron Rodgers.
A whole lot of them,
Oh,
man.
my
So,
gosh. Ed Reed.
There you go.
Oh, my God.
Brings me to the draft. The last time I felt this good was Derek Carr and Khalil Mack. I felt like that was something for us to build on. I felt like that was a turning point. that went south. This time around, like Alon said earlier, we've had the opportunity to shoot Ashton Jeanty a couple of times. He's a pounder. Like, the ground shakes when he runs by. He runs heavy and he runs hard. And look at the stats. Look at his performance all through college. UNLV got at his ass a little bit in that first game.
They did.
And he was on the side. I spent most of my time on the Boise State sideline because I like to get us in the background. And, like, they was putting some hits on him. He was going over there kneeling down. It was rough, but he kept coming back. Kept coming. They could not knock him out the game. He's tough as nails. That being said, and his what I feel, I've said this already, his number one attribute to me is not so much a top speed, it's how fast he gets from 0 to that top speed. Meaning, you got to make sure the offensive line, the interior offensive line, is on point. I think they're thinking in that way. I think we're getting back to ground and pound. Because if you look at it, I don't remember Pete Carroll doing a bad job.
No.
I remember them saying that the NFL was passing his way up, right? His foundational football, the NFL is moving away from that. Yeah. Right after he leaves, everybody jettisons their great running back, and them running backs come back last year and smack it out the park.
Just
One
saying.
win in a championship.
Just saying.
So, how do y'all feel about this draft past the Ashton Jeanty pick? I think we all in agreement we got a good pick there.
Yeah. I guess I'll start then. Of course, Ashton wasn't my guy at that pick because I like so many different running backs that we could have got later. Yeah. But I never once, if we drafted him, I was never going to be mad about it. Right. I'm happy that we didn't reach on anybody, right? Exactly. Like, we're so used to reaching on players in the first round. But you talk about all the other picks after that, man, I think we did a great job. And there's a lot of players that I knew about, like, say, Jack Besh. I didn't think that we would draft him, but adding him to the team and seeing what he could add to the team makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I was a big Shedeur guy, kind of going into that. Yeah, I wanted Shedeur. I didn't mind him at 6. I didn't even think he was going to be there in the second round, but when he started dropping, I was like, I don't understand why we can't take a chance at him.
Exactly, and then we take 2 quarterbacks after it.
Yeah, and the 6th round, I was like, when it comes to the 3rd or even 4th round, at that point, if he doesn't pan out, then we're not losing much. But then, kind of looking into the picks that we did bring in, I think that they did a great job. Darian Porter was one of my favorite cornerbacks.
Oh, yeah.
You get the 2 offensive linemen. So all in all, I think the Raiders did a really great job overall. And like you said, I haven't been this excited since the 2014 draft, where you can see every single pick, they were a value pick, and then you could kind of see where they fit in on this team offensively and defensively.
Agreed.
Yeah. My outside of Jeanty, I think the best thing they did was picking up Porter, like you said. I mean, you got a 200-pound cornerback that runs a 4.3.
Whew. Nasty.
4.3.
That's nasty.
And for years, I've been saying the Raiders' problem has been the secondary.
Yes.
I mean, Max sit up there and do his thing. They run that front part.
Yeah.
But if that ball goes and it gets past them,
yeah,
Raiders fans are throwing their popcorn. They're spilling their beer. They're cussing at the referees because they already know that ball is going for 6 points to the other team.
Yeah.
But I think when you got somebody like Porter in there who can move that fast, keep his head on a swivel, looks like he's not afraid to hit any.
Right.
Like, he put it to your chest.
Yeah.
And that's what you need. You got to get back to that old silver and black defensive way to where you hit them right between the numbers. You see snot bubbles coming out their nose.
Yeah, exactly.
Draw, take the penalty, whatever, but at least don't throw that over here again.
Yeah.
I think even just before everything with all the different mock drafts and everything, for me, I wanted Will Johnson out of Michigan. I knew we needed a corner. I wanted a corner. Obviously, we released Jack Jones. Raiders needed a corner badly. I think Porter's a great pickup, and I appreciate that the Raiders stayed away from defense mostly. That they only got a few D tackles. They got a linebacker at the end, but they tried to focus more on where their holes were. Offensive line, playmakers at wide receiver, obviously with Jeanty. And as someone who wasn't as high on Shedeur and was not really that shocked by the start of his slide, I was shocked more at the end of it. I like the picks we took at quarterback because we have Geno Smith. We locked him into an extension. We don't need a guy to come in and be like, hey, I kind of want to see if I can move up. We don't need that. And I think Shedeur wants that. He wants that top role. He wants to be the alpha. So we picked a project in someone from Montana State, and we got a different guy who already switched to wide receiver. We already have Jacoby Myers, who's used to that. We got Tom Brady, who played with Julian Edelman, who also did the same exact thing. He's put in a position where if he's going to make that change, he's going to be set up to succeed. And I think Pete Carroll is the perfect guy to tell him, hey, if you want that, you go do that. And he's going to go in there and he's going to energize the locker room, bring in the rookies and make sure that they feel comfortable, because he's got the guys in there to talk with them. And he's already got a stout offensive line. It wasn't as bad as people want to say it was last year, but our running game was still trash. And the fact that we got a guard, we got a tackle, and we got a stud running back, we're building that back up. Our defense should be just as good as it was last year. We just got to keep going. And I think we got the building blocks to keep moving up.
For a defense to continue that, you got to get some guys in on the rotation, because I would have loved it if we got Mason Graham. I thought just overall, he was one of the better players in the draft, rightfully so. He's the 5th overall pick. But once he was off the board, and me and Bossman talked about going down there, hey, you get Gentry, that's not a bad pick. Now, my question, just the way I look at sometimes in draft, I look at the history of the program you're coming from. For an example, do I really want a corner that's from Florida? When's the last good corner that came out of there? No matter how fast they are, no matter how good the dreads look, they haven't been out in the NFL. When I look at someone like Ashton Gentry, as great as he is, and like Boss, you know what I'm saying, when UNLV was getting after him and he just kept coming, I said, okay, who's the last Mountain West running back, though, who has some success in the NFL? Now, granted, sometimes you go to a team, they don't run the ball as well, the offensive line isn't good, so with us building it, I definitely feel like he could be like Halladanian Thompson was, coming out and showing, hey, we got some ball players down here. But I love the fact that they went and got 2 D tackles, Tonka Hemingway and JJ Pugh, JJ from Ole Miss, Tonka from South Carolina. You throw that in the mix now, got Christian Wilkins coming back, Max Crosby. Now you got a rotation.
Yes.
Adam Butler as well, who did real good for us at D
Malcolm
tackle.
Kuntz is back.
Kuntz is coming back.
Yeah.
Question marks on him, but Wilson is there. So now we're not relying on just 1 or 2 guys. We got a rotation of bodies, whether it's injuries or performance, that we could keep throwing at you. And now we got a fresh D-line coming at
That's the key
Patrick
right
Mahomes,
there.
coming at Bo Nix, coming at Herbert in LA, coming at all these guys and say, hey, it may not just be Max out here the whole time. We got a whole plethora of guys and 2, 3 guys on the sidelines. We coming after you, QB. So I love that they're building that up to say, hey, no matter what, you have to fight us. We're going to get in trenches and we're going to fight.
That's always been my philosophy, man. I feel like that's the way you build a championship team, especially if you don't necessarily have that all-world quarterback either in your locker room or being groomed to that level. You build it with the defensive line. You got to platoon them. It was the Bears. It was the Giants. It's the 49ers across the board. It's like when you can constantly bring in fresh legs in the 4th quarter, when that offensive line is beat up, hurt, and tired, then you can get to them quarterbacks. And we got a murderous row of quarterbacks that we got to see in the AFC West. So I think that the Raiders, through the draft and actually also through those free agent pickups, it's like they lost some people and immediately replaced them by something comparable, at least. So, you know, this whole offseason has just, to me, it's been one of optimism, just like y'all said, because I feel like the team is on its way. I'm still gonna say to Raider Nation, man, you gotta be patient. We can say whatever we want, but this has been a full rebuild. And it's been lasting for a long time. And we just gotta give it patience, man. And Jacoby Myers is highly underrated. That dude can run outside of catching the ball. We all know he does that with the elite receivers in the league. He can run a route. And I think that if you look at tape from him from the Patriots, I feel like the time that he was able to spend watching Devontae has really affected his game. Because I'm just kind of, you know, when you're looking through the lens of a camera, you just see a lot of different things that the average eye doesn't see. I think that him being in that wide receiver room, he's one of those players that Pete can say, just watch him. Just do what he does to the younger receivers in there. Look at the way he goes about business. Look at the things that he prioritizes with his practice and everything else, and do exactly that. and you'll be able to fill the role that we brought you here for.
Well, that's why he's so great and underrated, is because also as a former quarterback, he's a quarterback-friendly wide receiver.
Yeah,
he knows where he wants to be. He knows where you want him to be. And on top of that, he might not be the fastest guy on the field, but he's going to make that corner work.
Yes.
And all we got to do is extend him. All right? He's got 1 year left on his deal.
Yeah.
Outside of Brock Bowers, Ashton Jennings still a rookie. We don't want to count him in as one of our weapons fully yet.
Right.
Jacoby Myers just got to get signed.
Yeah,
We just
agreed.
give him another 3-year deal. Give him a 4-year deal.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Can't lose him.
Him and Brock Bowers are the only weapons that Geno Smith will have. And they're the only things last year that consistently made it look like the Raiders had something that they were building.
Right.
Because Myers is out there getting 1,000 yards. Bowers is out there getting 1,000 yards. We just need him to be there for a long time. And he wants to be here. He wants to be a Raider. We just got to keep him there.
Yeah. I believe for a quarterback, top 2 attributes, a quick processor, accuracy. Geno's got that. He's got nothing else. His processor seems like it's gotten a lot better in his later years, and he's always had an accurate arm. So I would expect that those receiver and tight end numbers from last year should go up just by virtue of having a better quarterback than we had, a much better quarterback.
You would hope so, especially with someone like Brock Bowers, because when you get him, at first it's like, wait, we didn't need a tight end. We just drafted one the year before in the 2nd round.
Yeah.
Then he comes out there. We're moving him all around. He's getting all the. Now you got to wonder, okay, now these coaches and players got tape on you.
Yeah.
How do we utilize him now the second time around?
Right.
And that's why it's so effective to have someone, a veteran like Jacoby Myers out there that could get down. We got Trey Tucker as well at the wide receiver position. You get all these other skill guys. Oh, now we got a running back we can hand the ball off to. So you start getting all this to where you say, you look at other good offenses around the league, you can't just focus on 1-2 guys now.
There you go.
have to respect everything. When the Bengals won the Super Bowl, they had Joe Mixon, T. Higgins, some dude named Jamar Chase. I heard he was kind of good. So, what are you going to do? Who are you going to focus on? You look at the Rams. Who are you going to focus on? Cooper Kupp, Williams in the back. Oh, yeah, who the heck is Puka Nacua? I don't know where he's from. Yeah. But now, so with the Raiders now having all this talent, and one thing real quick before I hand it off to you guys, you look at the guys on the roster, what's one thing Pete did when he first got to Seattle? Competition. Yeah. He's making almost every position. Outside of a few names, you're going to have to compete for your snaps.
Yeah.
And I've shown in the past, you can't just come in and say, oh, I'm so-and-so, I was already here.
Right.
No. It's a whole new day. So the competition, iron sharpens iron. You go into the fire, you come out a diamond. We shall see. And I definitely think that's how we get back into the Raider mindset. The competition, legit guys there who could take your spot. Not just, oh, he's good in practice, but then on the regular season, he getting torched by everybody. No, we got some studs out there with a new offense in Chubb Kelly, who I think as a coordinator, way better than a head coach. And I think offensively, we're going to start seeing, we're going to run the ball, but we're going to have some plays out there where you're going to say, oh, where'd that come from? So I love the innovation that we're probably about to bring to the field. A lot of excitement right here. Let's go!
I mean, to add on to that too, like Pete Carroll during his press conference, he talked about what makes a successful offense with a quarterback is, that offensive line and having a great running game. And I feel like we addressed both of those in the draft and free agency. Yeah. And of course, Jacoby Myers, you talked about it. Brock Bowers is great weapons, but I feel like another player that really is gonna stand out this year is Jack Besh. Coming out of TCU, he's a big body receiver that can kind of do it all. And one of the main things, like for me, I was like, man, there were so many other receivers that we could have got instead of him, even though I knew about him. But kind of looking at what Pete Carroll loves to do is run the ball. Yeah. He's great at blocking, and he was a tight end turned wide receiver. So he's basically another Brock Bowers out there, but a little bit more shiftier, and he's another like a security blanket for Geno Smith. So you got Brock Bowers, you got Jack Besh, you got Jacoby Myers, you got Ashton Jensen, who's going to take the load off of you basically. Right. I think the offense. I feel really optimistic about the offense moving forward, especially after last year and what we've seen last year, going into this year. Yeah. I think we got about really good weapons, and we got big body receivers, and Dante Thornton, another big body receiver that can run as well. So it's like, we got guys out there that at least, if anything, will have a opportunity to go out there and ball out. Yeah. But at the end of the day, like Kalani said, it's all about competition. And it's going to be the best man out there. And that's all Pete Carroll's going to do is put the best 11 on offense, the best 11 on defense, no matter where he came from. So I think it's going to be cool.
And real quick, based on what you said with Betch and his blocking, if you want to run the ball, your skill position guys have to block.
100%.
They got to be run. You look at any team that runs, Eagles with Saquon, whatever, those skill guys, they're blocking.
They got to expect to block.
Exactly.
They
So now that we
like,
got
it's
these
a
guys
part
out here.
of what they do here.
Yes.
is block, and he's one of them guys. He looks for contact.
Mm-hmm.
He want to mix it
I
up.
was getting ready to say, I'm expecting the Raiders to do a lot of passing and actually complete passes this year. And the reason being is you got Geno, who
Right.
people underestimate Geno's feet.
Right.
Geno,
He
if
can
he
move
got to
around.
get out the pocket, he can move.
Yeah.
Secondly, Ashton Genty blocks,
Yes.
and he blocks damn well.
Yes,
and
he
we've
does.
seen it. You got a back who can block, who can also run. That defensive line and them guys that want to sneak up out the secondary,
Yeah.
they're going to think twice.
Yeah. Real talk.
You didn't see it a lot in college, but Ashton Genty was a slot receiver in high school. So not only can he run as much as he wants, like a monster, he has a background skill in catching the football. If we need him to catch the ball, we can run screens as long as our wide receivers are blocking. We can put him out in the slot and we can have him run routes.
Yeah.
Pete Carroll can put him wherever. And Chip Kelly, obviously he came from Ohio State. They had Emeka Egbuka. They had Jeremiah Smith. They had Quinshawn Judkins. They had
Toys.
Travion Henderson. They had a $20 million roster
Yeah.
filled with weapons. And Chip Kelly said, all you guys will go everywhere but where you're supposed to be.
There you go.
And then just go do something. Chip Kelly can look at Genty and be like, I want you everywhere. And he can go and he can do that.
A la Reggie Bush.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Point.
Oh, the good,
Good
old
point.
days.
All right, so looking ahead, and I know we don't know who's exactly going to be on the team, who's going to make the team, who's going to get cut. And, you know, everybody's optimistic at the beginning of offseason. Where y'all see the record for the Raiders this year? Come on, give it to me.
I think we're going to be close to making the playoffs.
Yeah?
I think we're going to be those last 2 weeks. So just a little.
Playing for it in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think those last 2 weeks, depending on how everything falls out, we're going to be there. So they've gone back, I want to say maybe 15, 20 years. The city that hosts WrestleMania for pro wrestling, that team makes the playoffs the next year.
Are you serious?
They did it for WrestleMania because they were talking about the Raiders, obviously.
After the pandemic. After the pandemic.
Or after, okay.
Yeah, after pandemic.
since-
Yeah.
I thought it was a little bit more, but it was like every city it hosted,
Yeah.
that football team for that city
Goes to the
makes the
playoffs.
playoffs.
Wow.
So you use that momentum, you use the energy, you let them know, finally, the Raiders are back in the postseason. Yeet! So we coming in there because you can't see us coming all the way with everybody saying, Las Vegas Raiders, yeah, yeah, what I mean?
It sound good.
Yeah.
It sound beautiful.
They want the smoke.
Get pumped in.
I'll take it.
I might be a little less optimistic than that. Me personally, I look at Pete Carroll's first year with the Seahawks. They just signed a quarterback to a big money deal. Russell Wilson comes in, drafted from Wisconsin. You know what he does? He wins the battle out of training camp. Rookie quarterback goes in, losing record, wins the NFC West, goes to the playoffs.
7-9.
Exactly. 7-9. 7-9 is not possible for us unless we go 7-9-1. I think 8-9, 7-10. That should be our ballpark. If we go 9-8, 10-7, that's great. I think that 8 to 9 wins should be where we should think that our ceiling is and where our optimism should be. If we go higher than that, great. But I also think we just got to be realistic. We got a quarterback, we got a running back, we got a good wide receiver one, we got a good tight end one, and our defense should be solid. But we're still playing in a tough division. 3 out of 4 teams made the playoffs.
Yep.
It's tough. We got to go through Bo Nix, who could go through a sophomore slump like C.J. Stroud, but they still won their division.
Yeah.
You could go against Justin Herbert, who looked good all season, and then for some reason against the Texans forgot that he had to throw the ball to his receivers. And then, of course, you got that team over in Missouri, and we don't need to talk about them. They're going to be in the playoffs,
already know
unfortunately.
that.
But we got to look at it like this. We can make the playoffs. We can make some noise in the playoffs. What we need to do is build, and what we need to do is make it look like we are taking a step forward. Last year, we had the 32nd ranked rushing attack. If we have the 32nd ranked rushing attack this year, I don't know what we're doing anymore. Fire everyone.
That's not happening.
All we got to do is rank 31st, and technically we did better. That is it. Bare minimum, get like 100 a game, and we're solid. That's all we care about. But as you
more
said,
than 18 points a game.
ride that WrestleMania momentum. Ride the team momentum. We got a good team now. We got a good draft. We got a good free agency class. There's hope. Temper it a little bit. Shoot for 8 to 9 wins, and we'll be sitting pretty.
Lon?
First round playoffs at bare minimum.
At bare minimum?
Bare
That's what I'm talking about.
Bare minimum. And we talked about this. Pete Carroll brings a revival to the Raiders culture.
Yes.
Players want to play for him.
Bro, they wanted to play for Tonio last year. Wasn't that what everybody was saying? They wanted to play for Antonio. They want to play for him, hire him, make him the coach. Everybody going to bat for him. What happened?
No offense. No creativity. It was unseasoned chicken. It wasn't good food. Like none of, like
He had no experience. That's what it was.
he had no experience.
And that's what I'm getting
Yeah.
to. Pete Carroll's resume is what that makes the difference right there.
Got
So
it.
folks are going to want to come. The Raiders are not done making moves. I see some free agent stuff happening between now, the start of the season, maybe just past preseason.
Significant or just some role fillers?
You know what? It may be a combination of both.
I think some role fillers.
But I think that what they did with the draft, bringing in people who can play different positions, you got a quarterback, you're gonna flip him to receiver. Because what you did, you addressed needs. You knew you had needs at both behind the line and going downfield, and you address it by picking up this guy, going he can do both.
Yeah.
But you're building a culture. You're rebranding this culture now, so you're making it to where it's attractive to be in Vegas.
Yeah.
And it's all for the right reasons.
Yeah.
So, first round playoffs, at least we go past that. Yeah.
I mean,
All right.
That's what
Say it
I
with your chest then.
that's what I would usually say is that like the past 3 years we've had 3 different regimes, and I say the same thing every year. I'm like, okay, at least the playoffs were good, and obviously we fell way short of.
a little short.
So, yeah, so
Just a bit outside.
but
Man.
I gotta agree with him though. Like I think my expectations this year is, even with all the moves that we made, I think this is probably the best offseason we had since John Gruden left the team.
Yeah.
But I could see us somewhere around 8-9, 9-8, maybe squeezing into the playoffs. But I think the main thing for me is just seeing like some growth in the team, and we talk about the culture and how much it changes. I think that's the biggest thing. If we're going into games competitive, even if we're losing some games and we're looking competitive, I think that goes a long way for us fans. Heck, me.
Yeah.
We could win 8 games, 7 games, but look like.
Yeah, man, we're a sad bunch, man.
I know. I think I can't really shoot for the stars yet though. But I feel like 8-9, 9-8 is kind of like the ceiling for me right now.
Yeah.
If they go over that, then of course I'll be happy. But I feel like we have all the pieces in place, and I think this is the first offseason a lot of Raider fans can actually like agree with each other, whether you want Ashton Jeanty or not, or we actually have a quarterback in place that is better than Jimmy and Gardner, and even AOC. We got a number 1 running back. We got some weapons, and we got a coach that has done it before. We haven't brought in no project coaches, so I think everything should align to where we should at least get to 8 wins.
Yeah. I mean, I put us around there. More so than anything, our schedule this year is trash. Like we can whoop up on. We should be able to beat some of these teams.
There's one team we got to beat.
Who's that?
There's one team we got to beat. Not in the division. They are coming here. And we want all those crybaby fans coming up from Dallas and all them other snot-nosed states that don't got no team because you ain't worthy enough. Cowgirls come here.
Oh my
Smack! You try it.
I didn't know they was coming.
They coming here. They coming. Draw the line in the sand.
I'm not shooting you. You shoot that game. I gotta go have a seat for that one.
But like what TJ was saying, and it was you saw it at times with Antonio Pierce. Even if the wins aren't there, if we're out there fighting, competing, saying, hey man, we're just a player or 2 away, but you don't have to go all 12 rounds with us.
Yeah.
We got to do that. But at the same time, we also got to show, hey man, we can score some points. It's hard watching the game 17-10. And it's not because the defense is the 85 Bears or the 0-1 Ravens. It's because we can't pass the ball.
Yeah, I get it.
It's one of those where you say, okay, can we get some points on the board? Even if we lose, like we said earlier, hey, look, we may not be able to stop you, but I'm going to try to score 50 this game. There's got to be moments like that where, hey, go for it. We bring these players in, go down the field, push the ball down. Let's get creative with what's going on. You got 2 tight ends that are top tier. You got a running back there. Heck, we even got, in the backfield, we got Raheem Morissette. Now, I don't know if he's going to be healthy enough to play, but if he is, he's shown, hey, 3 feet in a cloud of dust, and I'm down. You know what I'm saying? So we got a lot in place. I just hope and then think. You talking about the moves that we might be making. We don't even know who's going to get cap casualties every year. There's about 3 or 4 big name guys who get cut. What if one of them happens? We pick them up. What if one of those happens? Hey, we need that guy on the team. Now we get some more excitement here. So a lot of optimism, a lot of excitement, but I think a lot of it is also justified by what they've been doing with all we've been saying. And that's why I think we should either be or at least pushing for the playoffs the last couple of weeks. Obviously, health and everything goes into it, but I think with our schedule and what we have, we're going to surprise some people.
See, for a team like us, though, man, I just feel like 8-9 wins, that's like NFL purgatory for us.
It is.
Because we
Jeff
don't
Fisher
have
territory.
a chance to get better in the draft because we don't have a high pick. And you know there are some holes that need to be filled or added to for you to become a contender. So it's like, if we ain't ready, just go out and practice, man.
I mean,
Go out and practice.
we can go out and practice, but already from the get-go, last year we tried out Gardner Minshew and Zamir White week 1.
Yeah,
Zamir White, the guy who everyone saw one photo of when he was super buff and was like, oh, fantasy first round pick. You know what he did? Nothing.
That was rough.
Now he's sitting 4th on our depth chart for rushing yards. Why? Because we got 3 guys ahead of him that we know for certain are going to go out there and be
May
better.
even get cut.
I don't understand what was seen. I'm at practice. I'm at games. I'm at OTAs. I'm at training camp. I don't understand that one.
It make no
That
sense.
one I don't get. I'm not gonna say I'm any kind of football man, guru type, but that one, looking through the lens of a camera, I do not understand that one. I still don't understand it. Look, you put on the silver and black, I'm behind you 100%. But I didn't get that. I didn't get that. I did not get Gardner Minshew either. I don't see how in the world can he start over AOC. I do not understand why that.
We had a
don't
better
get that.
chance yanking Cam Newton out of his podcast. than putting him back there. I'm just, all jokes aside.
Yeah.
No, seriously.
That's not even a
seriously.
joke. That's just-
Seriously,
dead ass.
that would have been
You
nice.
can't have a quarterback that turns the ball over, man. That's why when you said Jimmy earlier, it's like Jimmy loves the other team.
But if
He
we
really
let
does.
Gardner Minshew loves the other team.
We didn't have
and
a running
it
game.
deflates.
If we had a running,
just-
Jimmy won more games when he didn't throw a pass.
There you go.
He would sit there and hand the ball off 30 times a game, and the Niners would look beautiful.
Yep.
If we actually had a running back who was capable
Good
of doing
point.
something, or
Good
an
point.
offensive line that would allow our guys to work,
Good point.
maybe. But last year when you had Gardner Minshew and AOC, that doesn't inspire confidence.
Not at all. So it does something to your locker room
Yeah.
after a certain point, right?
Fake it till you make
Max,
it, but
you had Max Crosby week 2. Week 2. Dose. Or, excuse me, 2.
Dose is right.
No, these days, I ain't trying to go nowhere else. No, but in week 2 against the Ravens, he had to give a pep talk to Gardner Minshew to get his confidence up. You're already losing confidence week 2 of the season.
Yeah, man.
You're the
Yeah.
starting quarterback. So that was already trash. I don't know why we didn't stick with Aiden O'Connell to begin with, or at least say, hey, if you're injured, when you come back, get out there.
Yeah.
Now, one guy that we have on the team, and we know him pretty well out here, we got Malik Williams.
Yes.
And
Yes.
all I'm saying is, I understand he's undrafted. That's a deep quarterback room. Aiden O'Connell, AOC, question marks. Cam Miller, rookie. I love Malik Williams. He's got wheels.
Yes.
He could throw the ball down the field.
Yeah, he can.
He's tough. He's a veteran. We do the whole, he went to UNLV. He's a local guy. I don't know if we're going to get an extra 100 people there because he went to UNLV.
Yeah.
But I think he can add a nice extra twist to it if he makes the team and give us a different look. One thing the Raiders have not had since Rich Gannon, and even that's a bit of a stretch, a mobile quarterback that can make plays with his legs. Now, Gannon wasn't a speedster, but
Right.
he knew when to get out, like you said with Geno Smith.
Yeah,
he
he
knew
could.
when to get out, make some runs, and ha. If Malik Williams makes the roster, I'd love to see how he looks out there. So preseason, I'm gonna be really paying attention when he gets in.
I think his biggest issue is going to be just in the NFL period is reading defenses. Like he's just, he's so athletic that he relies on his athleticism a little bit too much, and that's fine for the Mountain West.
Yeah,
That's
that part.
That's not fine
Say that
for the
again.
Big Ten or the SEC. Definitely not for the NFL. That being said, I'm pulling for him because he's exciting.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's fiery. He's a
Yes.
good locker room person.
Great
so
guy.
if he can make the team, that'd be a great story. Look, before we get out of here, I want to come off the field a little bit. We got a dilemma out here in Las Vegas, and I want to know if y'all feel like there's even a possible fix for it. Allegiant Stadium. I don't believe because we are the team we are in the city that we're in, that it's ever going to be a home field advantage. Every team. I don't care where you are in the state. You could be in Minnesota where nothing's going on. You could be in Charlotte where nothing's going on. You could be where, or if you somewhere where everything's going on, like San Francisco. All your people coming down here and they moving their Vegas trip to the day when your team plays the Raiders. And they paying top dollar for the tickets. I don't see how that's ever gonna change.
I feel like it's going to change with winning.
Winning?
To be honest.
You think winning can do it?
Yeah, or some type of hope. Raider fans will come. I don't think Raider fans want to spend. Well, Raider fans are cheap. I'm not gonna lie to you. We cheap though.
Tickets ain't cheap at
Well,
all.
I mean, they came from Oakland, so they're expecting Oakland prices.
I used to
But
pay $25 for a ticket. What's this?
I feel like Raider fans are gonna pay if they have something to show for it. I think
Yeah.
last year for sure was one of the first years I've seen ticket prices like $100.
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
somewhere around there because there was nothing to really watch.
Right.
And I feel like now we kind of we've seen it in spurts a little bit. Like I still remember one of my favorite games was that 2021 season when we played the Chargers here.
Yes.
And you know, going to the playoffs, that was probably one
That
of
was
the
the
most
game.
like Raider, like
It was packed.
that was the biggest blackout. But I don't think
was.
we had any kind of hope since then. Like
Right.
I mean, there's still gonna be a lot of fans coming because
I think a lot of that had to do with it's more Raider fans in LA than it is Charger fans in LA. So
There
they
is
had
that,
a reason
yeah.
to come up here for that game too.
There is that.
yeah,
You know what I
that
mean?
Winning is the
But
ultimate deodorant.
when you're
though.
playing against the Bears, half of Chicago
Yeah,
is
no,
on
that's
their
true,
way
that's
to
true.
Vegas. You playing against Philly, the whole city is coming to see this
Yeah.
They
game.
got nothing else going on for them. That's why.
There you
Sixers is trash. Flyers ain't nothing. They don't got nothing else going on. They're sitting out like Joel Embiid. They're taking their time and whatnot. But no, seriously, winning is the ultimate deodorant for any organization.
Yeah.
Look at Miami and look at LA. Now the Lakers a little bit different, but look at Miami. When the Miami Heat are not doing good, there's not a lot of people that want to show up there.
Yeah.
You know, when's the last time they did a whiteout game?
Right,
now those
right,
are cool to see, but when you're winning, it's so many other things to do. And like you are losing. This is Vegas. Everybody wants to come here. I want to get out the Chicago Midwest cold,
Right.
the Northeast cold later in the year. But if you're winning, it justifies the ticket prices. It's justified going down there. But if we like, hey, wait a minute. I got other things I could do here. For those ticket prices, to see a team that maybe scores 14 points, think about it. When we scored over 20 points last year, that was a highlight. Hey, man, we got 20
Yeah.
points this game.
Yeah,
That's not
for real.
good. That's not good. If that's the case, for them tickets you charging and for the concession stands, I better get a pass. I better be able to go out there, do a little something,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah,
something. Sid better come over and interview me and ask me questions. Something better happen. Just kidding.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
But it's a lot. But if you're winning and being competitive and the wins are coming in, if you build it, they will come.
I think you're right. Winning does make a difference, but I think whoever's handling your marketing needs to get involved. And it's not just for the Raiders, it's also for UNLV. Because we've seen Allegiant Stadium go 80% blue when they play Boise State.
Yes.
I BS you not, it happens.
Yes.
See the same thing when the Raiders play whoever. I went to the Raiders versus Jacksonville game last season, and there's no reason why I should be sitting in the black hole and I'm surrounded by Jags fans.
Yeah. Good point.
So whoever is handling the marketing with Allegiant and with the Raiders, when UNLV, step it up, bro. We got to step it up.
Yeah, I mean, you look at UNLV, we set records every single time that Boise State came this year. Why? Because all of a sudden UNLV is looking good. I remember going my freshman year, we played Iowa State at home. All I had to do was listen to Iowa State fans clown UNLV people and be like, when was the last time you won a game? And my only argument against them is, when was the last time you guys won a natty? Doesn't change because we haven't won one either. But if that's the only thing I can tell them, because they're all traveling and they're all coming here.
Exactly.
And Vegas is such a tourist destination, you got fans coming here. When the Oilers are playing the Knights here, all I see are Canadian license plates.
Yeah.
All I see are Canadian people coming here to watch their team play. Why? Because they want to travel here. But I also know that Vegas people are traveling up there. They want to go watch the Golden Knights play in Edmonton.
Yeah.
But with the Raiders, it's different. When we win, people are going to want to be there. When we lose, who wants to show up? I remember I went to the Raiders-Jets game last year. That's honestly probably one of the most depressing games that one person could go to. Who wants to
good
watch
for you,
Zach
man.
Wilson lead the Jets against Aiden O'Connell and the Raiders?
Right.
We won, but I don't think it was that pretty of a game.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, you look at our schedule looks like crap.
Yeah.
When we start stacking wins, when we start actually putting a product on the field that fans want to see, and when Pete Carroll brings the fun back in, and we have a team that can go out there, maybe we do lose. Maybe we lose in fun ways. Maybe we lose by 1 point, but we at least made it look like we were fighting. It's better than what we got. Because what's the biggest highlight in the past 2 years? A Christmas Day game against the Chiefs that wasn't in Las Vegas.
Right. Yeah, good point.
It was the greatest game ever. A lot of people watched it, still talk about it to this day. Millions and millions of people talk about it to this day. We all know it. But when the Raiders win, they will win. I said it right here. They will win a lot of games. They'll win a lot of games. We're going to cut down the visitors coming in. We're going to put tariffs on them. They can't come in. We want our own people there. Okay, it's for our people, the silver and black. That's who's going to be there. Millions and millions of people. I brought them there. They all said I was the reason they
Do
came.
not get us banned.
Hey, cuz, we all being deported. It's a wrap. If we come up missing
Come
within the
on,
next
man.
week or two, we
He's
know
gonna send us
why.
to Edmonton. We gotta go watch McDavid.
Jeez.
Nobody wants to go to Edmonton. Nobody wants to go. Too cold. Too cold. We got to go golfing. Got to go to Summerlin. Go golfing. Mark Wahlberg. I'm a really good golfer.
On this note, this guy's about to get us in trouble. We're about to get out of here. Look, we just wanted to get together and have some Raider talk for Las Vegas. Teams made a lot of moves on the offseason. We've been out in the crowds. We've been listening to how Raider Nation is feeling. This is the most optimistic we all as a collective has been for a long time. So we want to say, look, I'm telling you, as a LA native, we got us a hell of a coach right now, man. And people don't talk about what he does or what he did at the time off the field. Man, 74 years old right now. I want him to just focus on the team.
That's it.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
yeah.
ain't got to be out in the hood
That's
all
it.
night.
No
like
need
he
for
used to
that.
do.
No need for that, coach.
You know what
No
I'm
need.
saying? But we all feeling a little bit better about the future of the team. I want to thank everybody for coming to the crib, chopping it up. My main man, Mr. TJ Samoan Raider. Tell them how they can see you.
You can find me on all social media platforms at Samoan Raider, basically, or even my podcast at Ninth Island.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. Alon is on the field. When you see him down there, yes, we both have beards. He is not me. I am not him.
Beards and bald heads, brother. Yeah.
Beards and the bald heads. We get it mixed up. But when you see Alon down on the field, or you see me or Trish down on the field, say what's up. We will holler back. My main man, Bryson, get to know him. He'll be doing Raider recaps all season long.
Yes, sir.
He does a lot of great work for us in the off season, all of the feature articles. And Kalani, tell them when they can catch the main event.
The main event is a weekly show that I do covering combat sports, boxing, MMA, pro wrestling. We're getting into it all. Another episode is about to drop this coming week. Be sure to tune in. We are going to have some interviews. We're going to be there, hopefully at the fights. But there's a lot going on. My man Tawan Butler is going to be joining me pretty soon. So we are going to be bringing you guys that heat and that fire, get into what's going on. Hey, man, this has been a blessing. This has been a lot of fun. We got to do this again.
Yes, we will. Thank y'all for tuning in. It is the Franchise Podcast at Franchise Sports Media. This was the Raider Roundtable.
Let's get
See you
one.
soon.
Let's get one. 1, 2, 3.
Raiders! Yeah. Live and direct from the